For this project, I looked at a weighted site suitability analysis to measure carbon farming with compost applications combined with managed grazing at a large scale for the state of California. When considering an area like the state of California, which produces 13% of the country's agricultural value, using compost and managed grazing for climate change abatement is directly relevant to many industries as well as environmental health and safety. There are many state policies related to reducing greenhouse gas emissions and diverting compost from landfills. So where do these two issues meet? The Marin Carbon Project established that combining compost applications with managed livestock grazing benefits the soil health and native plant communities while simultaneously enabling carbon sequestration through the mechanisms of plant production and microbial activity. This type of carbon farming that combines compost with managed grazing could be an important tool for combating the impacts of greenhouse gas emissions and mitigating the effects of climate change, meaning that compost use is no longer just an issue of intelligent waste management design or agricultural use. The GIS analysis for this project will identify primary regions of carbon farming potential using compost and grazing in California for greatest climate change reduction potential. Using several data layers, a weighted site suitability analysis will be produced in order to narrow the focus to a smaller suitable study area with ranked potential sites. Here we see an overall flowchart for the methodology to find a primary study area, a subsection of interest, weighted site suitability analysis, and best sites for application. They broke down the methodology into two parts. Here we see the analysis for a corridor of interest, a primary study area, removal of unusable areas, and selection of a subsection of interest. In the second model, we see the analysis for soil site suitability, land use land cover site suitability, and then the final weighted sum site suitability analysis for all different types of data layers used with the project. This methodology is simplified here for ease of understanding. So here we have the primary study area, which as you can see is in the northeastern corner of the state of California after removing urban areas like the city of Sacramento. Next, we have a review of the climate factors for the primary study area, which show that it's pretty moderate temperature and precipitation. And then here we have an overlay for land use land cover and federal rangelands, which shows that most of this region could be used for carbon farming. However, the orange areas, which show croplands, would probably be more difficult to actually implement. Here we have weighted Mosaic for land use land cover and range site suitability, as well as the best soil site suitability. This subsection is the 4 counties of Siskiyou, Lassen, Modoc, and Shasta counties as the final subsection of interest to reduce the overall amount of data for soil, organic carbon, clay, organic matter, and slope gradient. Here we have the proximity analysis for compost facilities in the primary study area, which were mostly next to Sacramento. And then finally, we have the weighted site suitability mosaic with the dark blue and illustrating the first application site. This site is significant because it measures about 1,715 square miles in Lassen County and 637 square miles in Modoc County. And according to the compost planner calculator that was produced by the Marin Carbon Project and the California Air Resources Board, an area this size could sequester greenhouse gas emissions approximately equal to almost 2 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions in Modoc County and 500,000 tons in Lassen County. So the value of this in California Cap and Trade program for this first application site would have a value of more than $37.3 million for carbon sequestration if managed properly with carbon farming. In conclusion, there is substantial scientific evidence that carbon farming with compost application combined with managed livestock grazing can be an important contribution to mitigating climate change impacts in many parts of the world. We can reduce emissions associated with waste management as well as agriculture, and when compared with other mitigation and sequestration efforts, rangeland carbon farming can sequester enough carbon dioxide to offset a relatively large portion of total anthropogenic emissions. The ultimate goal of reducing our emissions at the source with energy efficient technologies and eliminating fossil fuel dependency remains the same. However, the potential of the mitigation strategies presented here is large enough to warrant immediate action in regional policy development and implementation. Shown here are the data sources used for the GIS analysis methodology. So that is all for this project. If you have any questions or you'd like more information, you can contact me here, and thank you for your time.